self-organization, self-realization, right? And do you know who you are? And no, what we know is, I am this. I'm this person, and these are my friends, and these are not my friends. This is what I like, and this is what I don't like. This is what I want to happen, this is what I don't want to happen. Here are my dreams, here are my hopes, here are my concepts, here are my views, here are my beliefs, right? There, it's just this bundle of me. It's a tiny little bundle, isn't it? Doesn't include it, but if it includes somebody else, because their relationship to them, right? That's my sister, right? What if it wasn't, if you didn't say that, oh, it's just another person on planet Earth, right? It's mine, it's unbelievable how strong the ego is, but we don't know it. That's why I spend all my time, and almost have, down here, because unless you relate to where we're lost, how can we talk about being found? God is found. Ever play Lost and Found? Human is lost, God is found. That's what it boils down to. So what does one do? Well, you can go about your business trying to compensate for the fact that you're not okay. Can I say that again? You can go about your business trying to compensate, get the new car, get the better house, dress a little bit different, find a new relationship, get a new job that you feel more stimulated and passionate about, right? So you come to me. I'm a good friend. I Tony Robbins a lot. We've met a few times. He's come up here. I really like him very much. I do. But what Tony teaches, right, is find passion. Now we've talked about this, right? Find passion. Find your passion in life, right? Find a job that makes you passionate. I don't teach you that. And we can all fight, right? Why? I don't know why you're not passionate about everything. From what I've come to see, the only reason you're not passionate about everything is because you have blocked yourself inside, and only the things that compensate for your blockage make you passionate. Do you understand that? If you always dreamt of meeting a rich guy with a Porsche, who's a doctor, right, who dotes over you and loves you, and you're going to get passionate, right? If you're one of these hippie, new age, left-wing person that believes rich people are the most evil thing that ever walked the face of the earth, and doctors are making patients sick by giving them all this osteopathic, whatever it's called, medicines, all right? Then you get that person, the last person in the world will make you passionate. If you were passionate when you met him, you go, yes or no? In other words, your blockages are determining what your compensation is, obviously. Do you understand that? Okay? So that's one way to get passionate. But it's in this world of I'm not okay. And therefore I need to find what will make me be okay. And if I really find it makes me really passionate, don't worry, it won't last. It won't last. Somebody will do something, you'll get the job, and then somebody will give you a different task, or you get a new boss, or the company will go bankrupt, or something is gonna happen. You understand? You won't get the promotion when you thought you should. Anybody know anything about that? Right? Where's the passion now? I used to like the job, I don't like it anymore. That's how easy it is. Because it only worked when it compensated for your blockage. But it didn't get rid of the ego, it literally was supporting the ego. The ego was sitting there saying, if I can be the boss and have the corner office, and there's no glass ceiling, right, and the CEO's a woman, man, all right, or a black, or this, or American, whatever it is, African-American woman would be perfect, all right, and that's what I have going, you understand that? Then it turns me on. Why? Because I'm not turned on normally, and that is my hot spots. Those are my things. You understand that? So if it matches my things, I open it, don't I? All right? And I feel passion. I feel this strength. Right? But my position is, if you're not blocked, I'm telling you, you feel passion for everything. Literally. If you were the vice president and someone said, the janitor didn't show up, would you sweep the floor today? You'd say, can I? Oh my God, where? Can I do another one? And I'm serious. And you would be totally turned on. And all you would do is do your absolute best to sweep that floor. And if you do tomorrow morning, you come back and sweep the floor again and do it better, you would put your whole heart and soul into whatever you were doing. Because there are no conditions. You're expressing the light of your being by sweeping a floor, or by doing an operation, or by investing in Wall Street. It doesn't matter. The question is it from outside the blinds, and this light that's coming down is expressing itself in this world, or is it from inside the darkness and it's trying to build light? So I use the example of artificial light. It's trying to build light by having conditions be exactly right that they match your blockages. Now I want to know, do you understand that difference? Okay. Do you see why I can't talk about God in there? All right? Because I'm telling you what you're going to do to God in there. You're gonna try as hard as you can to get what it is you think you need to be okay. All right? And as long as you can do it, you're gonna do it yourself. You know, he helps them who help themselves. To what? Everything. Never mind. It's like, it's amazing what you're taught, right? So you go out there and use your will and never quit to do what? Run over people, take from people, who knows, right? Just whatever it needs to be. All's fair in love and war. I like your expressions from in there. You understand that? That's where they all come from. I did it my way. Right? And you come down here and you look and you just sort of go about your business trying to make everything be the way that will turn you on. And what happens when you can't? That's when you turn to prayer. You understand that? If you do it yourself, you don't ask God. God is the request of last resort. Right? You sit there and say, I've tried as hard as I can. Can you please give me this job? I really want this job. Now, I'm not telling you not to pray like that. I should never talk to you about how you pray. Pray any way you want. Right? I want to talk to you about the difference of in here versus out there. Because out there is spirituality. In here, there could be religion, there could be atheism, there could be anything, who knows, whatever it is. But you do understand that's how people pray. All right? And this thing about attraction, right, is no different. It's just basically, in a sense, it's giving you one more step before you give up and ask God. You know, they say you haven't tried everything, you tried chiropractic, right? You haven't tried everything till you tried the law of attraction. I mean, you did your best, you did everything, you tried to impress people, right? But have you done mantra? Om Shri, I want a husband, Om Shri husbandry, I'm visualizing the husband exactly the way I want it to be. Okay, fine. Anyone listening? Right? It's exactly the same as all the other things. And when that doesn't work, I feel sad. I was sitting over there, it was a year or 2 years ago, a lady, middle-aged lady, apparently came down from Jacksonville somewhere, right? And she raised her hand after a talk, and I never talked this strong, all right? I gave a talk, and she said, thank you. Thank you for what? You just took 1,000 pounds off of me, of pressure. I said, why? She said, because I was feeling guilty that I'm not able to attract to myself the abundance that they told me I should be able to. What's wrong with me? I've been doing everything they said to do, right? And the miracles and this and that, and it just hasn't happened. I think, God doesn't like me. There's something wrong. You're telling me that I shouldn't be doing that. That's right. You shouldn't be lost and then saying found is managed to attract to yourself, which keeps you lost. Do you understand that? I don't really want you getting what you want, because all it does is keep you trapped. You understand that? If you're suffering and you're lonely, you can't handle being alone ever, and you're so embarrassed anytime you see anybody because you're not with somebody, right? I am not going to participate in praying that you meet somebody. Do you understand that? I would rather have you heal yourself so that you're a normal, at least a normal human, forget the spiritual person, that you can handle it. Sometimes you're alone. Sometimes you go to the movie and people don't show up, you get to stand in the line and go by yourself. What the hell's wrong with that? Right? And the fact that you can't handle that is not going to be fixed by finding somebody. It's going to be suppressed. Do you understand that? Hidden, compensated for. Please understand, I'm not taking anything away from you. I'm saying there's something much, much higher than that way of doing things. All right? So what does that mean? It means you turn your attention to a totally different topic. Not what do I think I need to make myself feel better? What do I think I need to avoid so I don't feel worse? Why am I having these problems? Why do only certain things make me happy? So I always teach the way I do. You live on a planet in the middle of nowhere. How can you not be having fun? There's all kinds of things going on every second. Right? On the other planets, there's nothing. Literally nothing. Imagine what it would be like to be stuck on Mars or Jupiter or Pluto or anything. And here you have all these things going on. All these animals and fishes and roaches even. Right? Do you understand? If I put you in outer space for long enough, and you're just by yourself in the black, dark outer space, which is everything, right? And a roach crawl by, you run after it to make a friend. Come here. I don't know how to call a roach. Do you understand that? All right? So instead of being blown away and appreciating the fact that there's anything going on here, your ego based on your past experiences, have limited your joys to experiencing exactly what you want to experience. And it doesn't happen that often, does it? Right? And it has expanded your fears into what you don't want to experience. And then you're afraid of it all the time. You're afraid of your fears when they're not happening. Right? Okay? It's just amazing. So what do? You turn the whole thing on its head. It's called a paradigm shift. A true paradigm shift. Not, I'll change what it is I think will make me happy. You understand that? That's not a paradigm shift. It's still in that world of I'm not okay, how do I be okay? It is the question, why am I not okay? Not what do I do about it? Why am I not okay? And I've taught you a million times, don't say, oh, I'm not okay because I don't have a husband or a wife or enough money. That's not why you're not okay. Please, if you learn anything from me, learn that. That is you're not okay. You've thought about how to compensate for it and it hasn't happened yet. That's not why you're not okay. You were not okay to start with. That's your attempt to compensate, and you have, like, the example I use, and I finally saw that people get it, right, is you are eating terrible. You've got a stomach ache all the time because your food just is terrible, right? It's just awful, your diet, all right? And you've got stomach aches all the time. And I come to your house, and you're running around frantically, sick, upset, everything, looking for it. I said, what's wrong? I can't find the Pepto-Bismol. That is not what's wrong. Do you understand that? That is your attempt to compensate for what's wrong, which is your eating habits, right? And you can't get the compensation to work. Then you don't tell me that's what's wrong. Well, it's the same thing with all of this. Your ego is, you're saying, what's wrong? Well, I can't find the right person, I can't find the right job. That's not what's wrong. So if I ask what's wrong, you better not tell me these other things. Do you see the difference? Never is the root cause that you can't find your compensation. Because there's a reason you need the compensation. That's the root. Anybody understand that? Well, what's wrong? You're blocked. That's like very simple. You're blocked. What do you mean? The blinds are down. That's why you don't feel the light. What are the blinds? Okay, I'm glad you asked. Now you want, notice I haven't talked about God yet. It's just, what's the purpose? The God you're going to build in there is the God of the mind. It's the God that's the way you want it to be. You understand that? It's some dream you made up, some belief structure. It's not God. Now we come back and we say, why am I blocked? How did I get blocked? Why don't I feel pure light and love and joy all the time? Right? Because you stored, quietly, because you stored inside of you things that bothered you from before. Just keep it really simple. Let me repeat that. What are the blinds in this analogy? The stuff you stored inside of you that bothered you from before, that's over, but it's not over inside of you. Every one of those things, no matter how big or little they are, if they're still inside of you, if you didn't let them go, understand that? Mommy died 10 years ago. How are you doing with that? What do you mean, how am I doing with that? Mommy died. What kind of question is that? I told you, Sunday I told you, Saturn has rings. Is that okay with you? No one has ever bothered to answer that question. It's like a stupid question. Saturn has rings. It's not, I don't get to have an opinion about it. Mommy died. I'll give you some time. I won't say it yesterday. All right, you have a right to mourn and go through what you need to go through, right? It's part of the human process. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that Mommy died 10 years ago and it's still stuck inside of you. And to mention it makes you feel weird. And every time you look at a picture, you start crying. You understand that? It got stuck in you. That's not normal. It is normal for your race, people. For you, your human sickness, right? It's normal, but it's not normal. Life keeps changing, and you've got to get with the program. Of course, there's a sense of loss when someone you love is no longer there. That's natural. It's totally natural. Hey, when they steal your car, you don't feel good. It's just a car. You lose your purse, you freak out, right? So it's natural, but it's not natural that it still be there 10 years later. Something's wrong with that. That thing that you stored inside, it's called a samskara, an impression, that didn't make it through. You know what I mean by through? Most things make it through. The white lines on the road, the trees you drive by, the people you walk by, the cars that pass. You understand that? They all, 99.999% makes it right through. Doesn't mean you can't remember it if you want to, but it doesn't come up by itself. You don't dream about the white lines. Did you see a white line? I wasn't painted well. Oh my God, I had nightmares last night. It doesn't do that, all right? It's when it doesn't make it through, it stays inside. I am telling you, every single one of those things is like a rock in a stream, but this is a stream of light. And that rock blocks the energy. It causes disturbance and eddies and rapids and sprays. That's what all your emotions are. Causes all that, and it blocks the light. The light has to find a pathway through, like water, and it's really thin, that pathway. Everything has to be just right for it to make a tip. Here, tiny tip, tiptoe through the tulips. You old enough to remember tiny tip, right? You have to tiptoe through the tulips. You have to make it exactly right. To just come around, right or wrong. Everybody has to say the right thing at the right time and be wearing the right clothes and have the right expression on their face. Oh, it's got to be just right. We can't ever remind you of your stepfather. You understand that? Even though it was a woman that you were talking about, you remind me of my stepfather. Oh, maybe. Doesn't matter, does it? That stuff you have stored inside are the blinds. That is what's blocking your energy flow. What's funny, in case this sounds shocking to find that out, what is psychology telling you? What does Freud tell you? You have this stuff stored in there. He called it suppression or repression, right? To me, if you study suppression or repression, they're very strong things, not to mention denial, and you really got to store it out there, right? It's just resistance, any form of resistance, right? I told you that. It's going to rain tomorrow. I don't want it to rain tomorrow. Why? I'm going camping. Why is God here? Here's God again. Why is God have to do that? Hasn't rained for 2 weeks. You really use the word God again. Oh my God, that's just blasphemy. Right? God doesn't like me. I once went down with having floods in the neighborhood down the road, and many years ago when there was a lot of floods, and we were putting sandbags. And one of the neighbors, we had a whole thing, everybody got together and tried to help the people in that subdivision, and we're putting sandbags there. And this lady came out, she said, "Oh, thank you so much," and this and that. She said, "I just don't understand. I went to church. Why would this be happening to me?" I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say a single word. Would you understand that? I went to church every Sunday. Why would this happen to me? Why would my house flood?
Why they stop?
So the net result is, you come back, and psychology teaches you, if you hold it inside of you, it's called suppression or repression, it's going to rot down there, and it affects your whole life. They don't talk in terms of energy flows, they don't talk about that, it's Eastern stuff, all right? But it is about, it blocks your Shakti. I'm telling you, when you store that stuff inside, you're actually shoving it into what's called your energy body. It is, you're not storing the event already came and went. You're storing the energy of the event. When it came in, it had energy, didn't it? It's an experience. You stored that energy, and it goes into your energy body, and it blocks your Shakti flow. It blocks the flow of your spirit, the flow of your Shakti, flow of whatever. You get sick, you can get sick. You get physically sick by storing that stuff inside. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? Right? That's why people can do energy work and you get healthier. Right? That's why acupuncture works. That's why everything does it. All right? Energy work, acupuncture, anything. Right? If you store that stuff inside, it blocks your energy flow, and your energy flows will feed your cells. Every single thing can whatever. All right? So the answer is very simple. If that's the problem, that you store that stuff in there and it's blocking your energy, and that's everything I talked about that's causing the darkness inside, now you see it all coming together, right? What's the answer? Duh. Stop it. Stop putting more in. Stop putting more in, and get what's in there out. And all of a sudden, there's light in there. Period. Do you understand that? Right? Saint Paul of the Cross, Saint John of the Cross, wrote a book called The Dark Night of the Soul. Right? In other words, you have to go through your own darkness to find the light. That's why. It's not religious. It's basically saying, if you got that stuff stored in there, that's the last place in the world you want to go. You don't want to go talk about money. You don't want to leave the room when they talk about money. Do you understand that? Why? Because it makes the darkness come up. It makes that stored stuff down there come up. Well, what's wrong with that? It's not comfortable. Why? Because it wasn't comfortable when it happened, and you didn't let it finish. It was stored with pain. It's coming back with pain. Do you understand that? Why? Because you stored it with pain. You suppressed pain, and it made a complete mess inside of you. And ultimately left you locked inside this dark room where you have to try to compensate for the light. You understand that? You try to do things or find things or whatever. All right? And sometimes you get good and sick and you do weird things, like kill people and become a serial killer and do all kinds of stuff. You understand that? Because that stuff's blocked down there and you can't get your energy to flow. And next thing you know, you're doing weird stuff just to get any shot of energy. Playing Russian roulette, S&M, you know. Why in the world would you want to pay somebody to beat you? Because the only way you get your energy flowing. You understand that? Have compassion, right? Every single thing is based on this. Everything. All of, you know, people's unacceptable and unsocial behavior, illegal, every single thing is based on that. Is based on this is what's going on. You are blocked. The energy can't flow, and you want to try and find some energy, and you know, you guys do it nicely, and somebody else does it not so nicely. You do it with flowers and nice words to manipulate and control. They do it with guns. And, okay? But it's the same process. Right? Somebody else does it with mantras and all of them. Right? So ultimately, the whole spiritual path is really simple. You can take all the techniques, all the Kundalini yogas and this and that and all the prayers and all the things and say, am I feeding my stuff or am I getting rid of my stuff? That's it. Nothing else. Am I dying to be reborn or am I dying to get what I want so that I can stay protected and safe in here locked in the darkness? That's exactly the question that spirituality asks. And some people make the decision. Why? Well, I hope because they found out the other doesn't even work. It's so silly to do. Your whole life you've been trying to get it the way you want so you're okay. You're still doing it. You just found different ways. You understand that? Like my standard joke is it used to be Barbie, now it's Ken. Good, I like you. All right. It's just unbelievable. When you wake up, it's called waking up. You wake up and you realize this ain't gonna work that way. Of course it can't work that way. You didn't change anything. All right? And so you work on removing your blockages. Well, how do you do that? Now I'm gonna bring God in. If it is true, and it is, that I can assure you, that you, on the other side of your blockages, there's all this light, because you're really you, you're just hiding in the TV screens, you projected yourself there, right? Then that's the path to God. That's it. Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me. They think that I'm going to disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me. So Christ said, and it's absolute truth. The trouble is, he wasn't this man with 2 arms and 2 legs standing there saying that to you, right? It was this light, right? That you got to get to the other side of yourself, and the light will pull you up, and you will return to the source. Therefore, it's true. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me. Do you understand that? Don't repeat it. Tell them I ever said that, because they really like that quote. That's how they separate themselves from that. That's how all wars happen, the Crusades. That's why I said I like Christ's teachings. Why they're the truth, right? What they do with them, that's a whole other ballgame, right? You've heard that before, haven't you? I am the way, the truth, and the life. And isn't that exactly how they kill everybody? Scream and yell, you're going to hell for all eternity if you don't do this, that, the other thing, right? So it is not that Christ did not speak the truth. It's just that Christ wasn't this lost human talking to you. It was the way, the truth, and the life. It was the pure light that exists, the ray of light from the sun. If you focus on what the light is falling on, the object it's illuminating, you will never know God. You will be busy with the object. If you come back to the ray that's shining on the object, it leads right back to the Father. Do you understand that? You can even think, if you want, I can say this to you, the Father, the Son, the Son is S-U-N, the star, the Son, the ray of light emanating from it, and the Holy Spirit, the heat and light that falls on the object, all right, is what you feel as some spirit inside of yourself. That heat, that ray heats up that object, doesn't it? So if you come back to the heat, you're closer to that ray, aren't you? Right? So you're welcome. I'm not telling you, Lord, don't you dare tell anybody I said that, right? It just happens to be true, all right? That the Son is emanated from the Father, all right? falls on form, some of its qualities go onto the form, which is light and heat, and that's what you feel as spirit. Okay. So the answer is, to talk about God, you have to go on and talk about the other side of the blockages. I'm not interested in talking about God on this side of the blockages, because God is on the other side of the blockages, right? And who put the blockages? You did. You did. You understand that? You did. Right? Simple as that. Okay? I like very much that, even though I'm not into this stuff, but they're into the devil and all this stuff, they have a name for the devil called Lucifer. And I think I heard that he was a fallen angel. That is really deep. You understand that? Not that God made something that was evil, right? It was an angel. It was pure light. It took on ego. It said, I will do it my way, just like Adam and Eve did, right? The tree of self-knowledge. I matter. I want this way. This is what I want, and I'm going to mess with God's creation to try and make it be that way. And it gets evil enough to cause a lot of trouble, doesn't it? All right? So if you want to talk about God, I'm sorry, I won't do it in here. In here, I'll talk about dying to be reborn. I'll talk about letting go of yourself. How do you do that? Every single day, you let go of yourself. Every single minute, you let go of yourself. Every single second, you let go of yourself. Understand that? Let's say you were eating food that was so sickening that you're in bed and you're dying because of the food you're eating. And someone diagnoses you and says, oh man, there's nothing wrong with you. It's this food you're eating. It's really poison to you. You need to stop eating it. You know what a human being would say? How often can I still eat it? Do I have to stop all the time? What if just once in a while? No, every single second, you have to not eat it. Then you'll get better. But if you eat it a little, you won't get better. You understand that? It's the same thing here. You have to walk into this world and say the purpose of my life, not Sunday, not Friday night, the purpose of my life, every breath I take, is to let go of this darkness that I built inside myself, so that I can at least live one day of my life free, liberated, filled with divine spirit, in a state of complete ecstasy and joy, no matter what happens, because that is my natural state. It's called unconditional. It's not conditioned on what's happening. You understand that? It's who I am. I want to return there. I want to come back to the garden. We have to find our way back to the garden. All right? Can you? Of course you can. I showed you can. How? Let go of the blockages. First, how do you do that? You say, I can't. It scares me. Okay, don't. I teach you. With Christ, they said, what he asks of us is not much. I really like that line. All right? What I ask you is you less. Right? All I'm saying to you, don't deal with the big stuff. Don't even worry about it. Don't even think about it. I know there's stuff in there that freak you out to think you have to deal with. No, don't even touch it. Right? I want you to start with the low-hanging fruit. The simple little things that happen every day that you bother yourself about that are ridiculous to bother yourself about. Like the weather. Like the fact that it's raining or it's windy or that your hair gets frizzy. You understand that? Like, it's not a bothersome thing. You're just bothering yourself about it. It's an ego thing. How you like that? Your hair's pretty frizzy. You just don't think so. Okay? You're attractive getting older. Okay? You just don't think so. You understand that? Right? So therefore you bother yourself about it. And you bother yourself that it's raining. And you bother yourself that this happens and that happens. These things are not bothersome. They're fine. It's fine that it rains. It's fine that it's cold. It's fine that it's hot. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, until you decide it's not. If you can point to one other person who isn't bothered by it, then it's not a bothersome thing. Do you understand that? If it's personal, you'll let it out. You gotta let it go. Do you understand that? If I'm driving behind somebody, it's a 50, by the way, it's 55 miles an hour and 156. All right. I just got a car, I had a car that tells you the speed limit. Somebody said, it's 55 out here? Yes, I knew it was 55. People go 30, right? So if you're driving behind somebody who's going 50 miles an hour below the speed limit and it's bothering you, they are not bothering you. You are bothering yourself about them. They happen to think that's a speed that they like. You could like it too. The only reason it's bothering you is because you decided not to like it. Do you understand that? It's called personal. Start by letting go of the stupid personal things that you've just decided to bother yourself about because you decided to. You understand that? It's too hot out. Well, what exactly is too hot? Anything above 92. But if the humidity's, even if it's above 90 and the humidity is 87%, because the humidity affects what it feels, what are you doing? You're deciding when you're going to bother yourself. You heard me? Why are you doing that? Why don't you just sit there and say, what's too hot? Nothing. Who am I to decide what's too hot? The temperature is what it is. What I think, I'm God? There's your ego again, right? So learn to be okay. That's where acceptance comes in, where surrender comes in, where appreciation comes in, where gratitude comes in. Be grateful that it's not minus 600, like it is on Pluto, or God knows what it is up there, right? Be grateful that it's a livable temperature. Blood is not boiling, okay? Stop it. You hear me? Expand the range. And so little by little you work on yourself instead of working on the weather, but you're not going to affect the weather anyways. All you're going to do is bother yourself about it. So you start to do this amazing thing, which is called liberate yourself. From what? Yourself. Free yourself from yourself. Free yourself from the part of you, the ego, that thinks it has the right to decide what the weather should be. It obviously doesn't, because it didn't change because you didn't like it. And it didn't come the way you wanted it because you liked it. It is what it is. I gave that talk yesterday. It is what it is because of all the forces that make it be what it is. How about you be okay with that? Who gave you the right? Do you understand that? Who gave you the right to not like the weather? That's ridiculous. And so you start relaxing and releasing, letting go of the part of you that keeps the blinds closed. And eventually, you really like doing it. Why? Your life gets a lot easier. Imagine if your mind never complained about the weather again. That's a whole burden off of yourself. Imagine if your mind never complained about what people said or didn't say, or what they were wearing or not wearing. Do you understand that? What if you started letting go of yourself instead of trying to make everything match yourself? You start with little things, and you keep doing this. And I don't, like if you ask me, I don't know how to. That's crazy. How do you know how to complain? Who taught you to complain so much? Right? How is it you know how to complain? How does it you know what the temperature needs to be? Right? It's just something you're doing inside your head. That's why Mary said, man minus mind equals God. If you stop doing that, your consciousness will stop being addicted to this mess you've created inside. And all of a sudden you will start feeling lighter inside. People write me from all over the world. It's ridiculous, right? Just saying, oh, thank you. Thank me for what? I've never seen such a thing. You can do that to an author. They write to contact at TOU.org. Normally contact, you don't write to, it's contact, right? And they write these personal, tremendous things from all over the place. I just started practicing those teachings and my whole life has changed. I've read, I'm 7 years old, I've read every book I could, and then it was so simple, I just decided to not be bothered. If you don't bother yourself about something, guess what? You won't be bothered by it. It's amazing. And because you let go of that part of yourself, right, you become a strength. You get the strength inside, power. You become a being of power because you're not belittling yourself to all this stupid little stuff. And then the next thing that happens is something bigger happens. You understand that? Something that disappoints you, this happens, something like that, right? And you realize you're stronger. You now know how to let go of the little things. Just like if you practice the piano and you can do the scales, pretty soon you can play Twinkle Twinkle. Isn't that amazing? And it's really easy. But it wasn't easy when you started. It's the same thing here. Little by little, you practice letting go of yourself. And then the power starts to build inside. And then something bigger happens, and you notice you can do the same thing. In fact, somebody asked me the other day, well, what happens when you grow a lot and you're really there? What happens with the big things? They stop being big things. They look the same as small things. Just like when you can now play Beethoven, it's no harder than playing the scales. Do you understand that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay? That's what you do with yourself. You build yourself. One should raise the self with self, not get involved in trampling it down. That's the Gita. That's a line from the Gita, all right? So you sit there and you work on yourself, and you constantly do what you can every moment to let go. If you try and it doesn't happen, don't get down on yourself. That's ridiculous, right? If you're sitting there practicing tennis and the coach hits your stuff and you hit it to the net, don't throw the racket down and quit. Every single time you hit it to the net, you become better. Do you understand that? You learn how to hold your wrist a little stronger. You learn how to hand-eye coordination. Do you understand that? Okay, so it's the same thing with this. If you're doing your best, just do your best, now you understand why, right? You're talking about liberating yourself, freeing yourself. You're talking about getting the blinds off the damn windows. Then all of a sudden there's light pouring in your whole being, no electric bills. Wow! And no having to pay people or do anything. You're self-effulgent, you're whole and complete within yourself. What's that worth? I hope everything, because that's what you're trying to do with all the stupid things you're doing, and they don't work anyways. That's why I tell you, there's no renunciation. If you're eating food that makes you sick, and then somebody gives you food that makes you really healthy, you didn't renounce the other food. How dare you call that renunciation, right? You let it go because there was something more beautiful. That's what this is. So there is no renunciation. There is no giving anything. If you're giving something up, you don't understand what's going on, right? If you hear people, I have a friend that won. She was the women's goalie for the 98, 99 women's hockey team. She won gold and silver medals, right? Really neat lady. She comes down, visits all the time. Very beautiful, right? That lady had to spend, 4 to 5 years of her life giving up everything to try and win that gold medal. You understand what they go through for the Olympics? Do that kind of stuff, right? And she told me now she looks at it, hangs on the wall, and doesn't do a thing for her. She shows it to people once in a while, but they've all seen it, so it doesn't even do that. Right? It's really neat to be able to talk to her that way, right? And she's totally into this. She's totally into it. She's very, imagine how good she is at this. Woman's goal. She's not even big. She's not even bigger than you. She's goalie for the women's Olympic soccer team, the hockey team. So basically, you decide, this is what I want. Then it's not a problem. It's not suffering. It's not renunciation. If you're pregnant and you want to have the baby, that pain is the pain that ends all pain. It's the pain that people go back for seconds. I hear it's really painful. I'm like, oh my God, what's that about? Right? So this is greater. You're giving birth to your soul. You're giving birth to God within you. You're giving birth to light. You understand that? The kingdom is within you. That's what Christ said. So you seek to let, you don't seek God like Ruby. I hope you all know who Ruby is. It's like, I told you we were asked to do the chapel in the new hospitals at the University of Florida, 2 of them. One, the cardiovascular hospital and the cancer hospital and the cardiovascular hospital. And in the second one, what we did was we didn't call it chapel, we called it Sanctuary of Wisdom. It's really beautiful. You should go. People actually go there, just to the hospital, just to visit these things. And you go in, and there's these type of beautiful place. You feel really special when you walk in there. And then there's these pictures, 4 or 5 pictures on the wall. There's the wall of wisdom, and one of them has Mother Teresa with a saying, and Gandhi with a saying, and Martin Luther King with a saying, and then Rumi. Rumi was this famous 5th, 6th century Persian poet, which a couple of years ago, the New York Times had an article on him, said he is the most read poet in the Western world today. Right, Rumi is. And so the saying of Rumi is exactly what I was talking about. It says, it is not for you to seek love. It is for you to seek and find the obstacles you have put in her place. That's like what I'm saying. It is not for you to seek God. It is for you to find and remove the obstacles you have put in his place. You already are God. You're already there. You're the greatest thing that ever walked the face of the earth, and greater than that. But you're blocked. How dare you be on this side of the blockage and say, I want to know God? You understand that? When you're the one who's holding the blockage together. All right? So you commit yourself to letting go. I was telling you, this lady asked me some questions while walking out of the services yesterday, and asked, what she actually asked me, was really beautiful, is, do you, after I gave that whole talk on laws of attraction and letting go of yourself and so on, and she said, do you believe in divine intervention? How do you feel about divine intervention? Well, that's a very deep thing to ask someone like me. I don't want to answer it because you're going to misunderstand my answer, right? So the answer is there divine intervention? Yes. Yes, there is divine intervention, period. In other words, God created the heavens and earth, and cause and effect are the laws that create everything until the force that created it decides it wants to do otherwise on the spot. It's different. There is divine intervention, right? That is very different than saying, should you be asking for divine intervention? Because when you're asking for divine intervention, that's my answer to it. It was really beautiful. She really got it really deep. I said, let's say you're in love with somebody, madly in love. You guys are madly in love. You know what I mean? You do anything for each other, but you love the person. You're getting to know them, right? Should you be asking them to change to be the way you want them to be? That's not love. That's manipulation. You understand that? Well, what about God? God created heaven and earth. This is the day the Lord hath made. God express everything. Everything is the expression of the divine spirit. That's where it comes from. That's where it comes from. That field underneath. That's expressing it. And you want to say how you want it to be. And she was so sweet. She turned to me. She says, "Not my will, but thy will." Those are nice words, but that's what it means, right? It's if this is how you wish to express yourself, let me honor that and love that and be devoted and appreciate, just like your child, however your child is, you love them. You love to see the thing, right? Okay. If God wishes to change how he's being, that's his business. To me, how this? It's all divine intervention. It's all expression of the divine over time. It's expressed it's yin to yang, it's alpha to omega, it's everything is everything, right? The question is, not God, can you accept it? Can you let go of the part of you that says this was not just, this was not right, that was not fair, this is God, that's not God? Ha ha, it's very funny. It's not God, what is it? Right? There's only God. No matter Bob, you say God alone is real. There it is. So that's true devotion, right? And then she turned to me and she said, she was so deep, she said, so therefore the only real prayer is, give me the strength to let go of myself so I can know you. That's what all the masters taught. That's what the great ones taught. There's a story of Ramakrishna, one of the greatest beings that walked the face of the earth. He had a disciple. It was Nanda, who became Vivekananda. He founded the Vedanta Society. Very, very great teacher, enlightened being. And he went through a period of time where he was living at his master's ashram back in the early 30s, early 1900s, late 1800s. And a recession or depression was taking place. And he had a mother that he needed to take care of. He was living in the ashram. And he asked, 19, 20, 21-year-old kid, and he asked the master, who was a fully enlightened being, read anything for 1 second or something like that. But in any event, he asked the master, can I go take care of my mother? Because there was somebody else in the family, and my father's dead, and she can't eat. I need to take care of my mother. And the master said, of course, go. So he went, and he couldn't find a job. Brilliant man, but he couldn't find a job. The recession was that bad in India, and he tried everywhere, anything, nothing, couldn't find a job. So eventually came back to the master, and Ramakrishna was very, very high, very great being, and came back to him and said, Master, will you intervene? And he said, what do you mean? He said, would you, Ramakrishna used to be, that's Durga, he was into Kali, one of the goddesses of the Hindu tradition. He said, would you go to Mother, to Kali, and would you intervene and ask for intervention? And he said, oh, no, I can't do that. No. I don't ask her for anything. I just worship her. Give everything. But you can. This is a true story. He told me, you can go ask her. She'll listen to you. And so the story is he went down the stairs and walked across the Panchacharya, the gardens, and he went into the temple, and as he walked, right, got stronger and stronger and stronger, energy, shakti, because he was a great being. He walked there, and he fell down on his face before Divine Mother, before Kali, and said, oh, please give me the devotion so that I can love you the way I should, and have all of these obstacles from loving you, and let making you the center of my whole life go away, and just crying, and went back upstairs, and walked into where the master was, sitting with his disciples, and Ramakrishna smiled, and moved away, and said, did you ask her? Did you ask her? And he remembered, oh, understand that, right? You see why I don't do it, right? That's your relationship with God. God alone is real. You know, this is it. You have to, though, understand why it doesn't look that way. It doesn't look that way because you're looking in the wrong direction, right? You need to turn around and see the beam of light coming down, and then it will pull you up into it. That's what happens. We talked about, maybe you don't know what samadhi means. You say, you and I wrote that song we said in the beginning, right? It becomes so strong. What does? The energy changes direction. Right now, the ray is coming down, shining on your mind, shining on your heart, shining on your body, shining out on whatever you're looking at. It's just like you're staring at the TV screen. That's a downward flow. When you are no longer caught up in yourself, not completely, but at least enough of a degree, then you start to feel that the light is behind you, not all this stuff in front of you. And literally, your energy flow changes direction. You feel it change direction. It no longer flows down. Now you're driven toward things. It flows up. It starts pulling you up into it like a vacuum cleaner. And all the time, day and night, is flowing up, period. Going out your higher centers. And it starts to pull you up into it. But the great ones, the truly great ones, let go completely into that flow. It returns to its source, which is God, which is the universal. And those states are called samadhi, where you lose all sense of your personal self, and you just merge back into the divine. You're not even a soul. You're not even separate in any way, shape, or form. My Father, and it deep, that sounds so mystical and weird. My Father and I are one. That's why I love Christ, right? He said it to you all reading the Western world, but they don't get it, do they? So I mean, Yogananda came over here, he gave a talk, when he first came over here in 1928, and he hardly spoke English, had a turban on his head, but he was sent over to represent India at a international religious conference in Boston, and Boston was pretty conservative in 1928, right? And from the beginning, he said, Christ belongs to the yogi. Whoa, that should have went over big. But that's why, do you understand that? The yogi understands what my Father and I are one means. It's not just some weird thing someone you worship said, right? It means, there it is. It let go completely and merged. So that's the only God I know how to talk about, right? And which is why you have these masters hanging on the wall, because these are representing beings that have merged back, right? So, very good. Sorry. Jagger. All right, so we have a nice light talk today. Must be the coronavirus. Well, you guys made it, so all right, so I have shared with you something I don't normally talk about. And if you have any questions, if you'd like to share with me, I am open. We have some time. Anybody? After? Wait, you give me the mic. Hear you. Dave?
Hi, my name is Jesse from Deerfield. I have a friend who talks about the Bible. He only reads the Bible.
Good.
And I said, that's nice. And he says, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible. I said, no, there are other spiritual books. He said, no. The Bible's the Word of God, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible. And I'm okay with that. I have another friend, she said, the Bible's too weird for me. I put the Bible on the shelf years ago. I only read and study the words and teachings of God-men, like God-women, like Jesus, Buddha, Mary Baba. And I'm okay with that too, but I was wondering if you had any thoughts about that.
My thought is what I told you. Anything anybody's doing for the purpose of their growth, I am fully in favor. I would never take anything away from anybody, right? The highest thing you can do, under all circumstances, is let go of yourself. If you're sitting there reading the Bible and then judging everybody else who's not, you understand that? And thinking that somehow because you're reading the Bible, you'll go to heaven when you die, but you're still judging. You're doing anything the Bible says to do, right? You're judging. It says, judge not, you should not be judged, right? You're doing all that kind of stuff. You're laying up your treasures where your moth and dust do corrupt, right? And et cetera, et cetera. You're building your house on sand. That's what all this stuff means, that world of darkness, right? And you're not actually working your way out of yourself, right? then if that's the best you can do, that's the best you can do. I had a talk with you, assuming that's not the best you can do, right? That, let's get right down to brass tacks, which is, are you willing to let go of yourself, right? So your relation with that person is to support where they're at, right? So I would never talk to that person saying, what's the matter with you reading the Bible? It's not gonna do anything unless you, no, I would never do such a thing. But that's beautiful, right? I always say this, it's terrible, by the way. I sit there and say, if somebody asks me, is it good to read the Bible? Right, I ask them, what would you be doing otherwise, raping and pillaging? Would you read the Bible? It's always, what would you read otherwise? If instead of reading the Bible, you'd be out there causing all kinds of trouble, right? But the Bible keeps them centered to that degree, that's wonderful. If somebody is reading the lives of the great masters, right? And somehow that's all they're doing, is reading the lives of the great masters, right? That's wonderful, that's good. You get good energy, right? If they're reading the lives of the great masters as inspiration to let go of yourself, to do the work inside yourself, that's how I am with them, right? Like, how can you relate? You guys are amazing. How do you relate to Nietzsche? That's the painting in blue. There's actually a photograph of that somebody painted over it. Like, he looks fat. I mean, he looks like that. He's not healthy at all, right? It happens not to be fat, right? Nietzsche laid on a stone slab like this, in complete ecstasy, day and night. He would hardly get up off there. People would come to see him. He'd grunt, right? And they'd come by the thousands, hundreds of thousands, and lay flowers and fruit. That's because he was in that state. He was completely merged. Do you understand that, right? Am I going there? You want to be? It's not our world, right? But that was a fully released Nietzscheananda means someone who knows the ecstasy of liberation, of the formless, of merged into God, all right? And literally, anyone he touched, all this would happen. These are real saints, okay, real. I mean, so it's very inspiring to read their stories. How did he get there? What did he go through? You understand that? Robert Christ the same way. They're just amazing stories. They're beautiful. So anyways, if you're reading them and they're inspiring you to let go of yourself, then it's beautiful, it's wonderful. So first, don't judge anybody else, because they're doing what they need to be doing, right? What it does should inspire you. Your path is your path, and that path is every single moment I'm letting go of myself. So if I'm talking to the guy who reads the Bible, and he's telling me you're going to hell because you're not reading the Bible, and it raises irk and ire inside of me because it's such ignorance, guess what I'm going to do? Let go of that part of my being. Because that guy's, when he does his business, if it causes something inside of me that's judging and is just uncomfortable with it, thank you so much, you're my guru. I'm letting go. And that's what you do. There's no answer except let go. Let go. Proverbs, you say, use it to go to God.
Thank you.
Good. Go ahead.
Hi, Mickey. My name is Josiah.
Josiah, I remember.
Thank you for the talks. I feel like I can hear them over and over to try to burn them into my mind as much as possible, because I forget all the time and get caught up in, I guess the question that came to me was on some scars and the stored, stuck stuff. If the most traumatic, some scars and the deepest ones carry on to other lives and actually determine where we're born in this way, like karma, in order to have an opportunity to work that out. And if you want to talk to
No,
that.
it's fine, you said it. I mean, that's priceless. The fact that you understand that when you die, that stuff goes with you. It's like, if I don't go with you, that stuff does. I hope it scares the hell out of you. Right? Your mind doesn't die. Your mind's not made of form. Okay? The mind, the emotional body, your higher bodies, that's what they see with spirit going up, whatever you want to call it, right? And then, depending on how you want to view things, but certainly most of the teachings teach, and you get a few more chances at it. You don't blow it completely, and you come back around, and basically it comes with you. You don't know it. You got ignorance pulled over you, but the some scars are there, and that's why you're afraid of this and feel attracted to that. And why two twins are exactly the same, they don't stay the same, period, right? But anyways, that's the teachings and Hindu, and I was taught, I have a very close friend who's a rabbi, very, very Hasidic rabbi, and he said in the Jewish tradition, the Kabbalah, it it teaches reincarnation. That's not a abstract, obscure thing, and I was taught that up until a certain point in Christianity, they taught reincarnation, all right? And Constantine or somebody changed all of that. So I don't teach it, right? I'm not interested, you believe whatever you want. Obviously, it's a belief, because you don't know, right? You'll find out. I just wanna make sure you find out on the right side. Sit there and say, oh, thank God I let go of that stuff, I wanna come back. The answer is, if you understand that, and you see what's going on, it should inspire the hell out of you to let go of everything you can every moment of your life. Do you understand that? Okay? And actually, we talk about things like that. There's a line in the Gita where Arjuna is talking to Krishna, and Krishna represents Mr. Know-it-all, you know, the Godhead, and Arjuna is a true devotee, and he says, if I do this practice you're talking to me about, of letting go of myself, of striving to know you as you really are, you know, and God, and I get high to where I don't belong to the earth because I let go of that stuff, but I don't belong to heaven because I haven't gotten there yet. Aren't I like a cloud that's floating in between, and the lightning will come down and just scatter it, and I'm nothing? That was actually, I can't believe I remember that. I read the Gita 40 years ago, years ago. And Krishna's answer was so beautiful. I wish I could read it directly. This is really beautiful. He said, no, Arjuna, that's not what happens. He says, every single bit of work that you do stays with you. Period. None of it is ever lost. Whatever state you managed to reach, whatever liberation you felt, however close you came to that light, when you leave, it stays, and then you come back. And there's a line that says, and if you've done serious work, you may come back into a yogin's womb. It's a female yogini's womb, a female yogi, on the lap of purity itself, and grow up in a home that completely reinforces all your good qualities, and then you wake up one day and pick up right where you left off. Just literally, all that, your growth is right where, isn't that beautiful? So, in any event, I don't always talk about this stuff, but the result is, it shouldn't scare you, it should inspire you. Like some people say, well, how do I know? I know I was drunk and no wonder I moved on okay and I drink. Crazy, right? If you know that you can get rid of this stuff, and you know it's going with you, I mean, even if it doesn't, you should be inspired anyway, just in this life, right? But the thought that I gotta carry this crap with me, right? So you use that as inspiration to let go of yourself every second. Get as much out as you possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you.
What else?
Yeah.
Back here. Oh, okay. Introduce yourself.
My name is Deva. In the discussion, just bringing up the topic of law of attraction, it's when it all came up, those books or whatever it was years ago, just upon seeing all the media with it, I was like, oh, lots of mind stuff, you know?
Good.
Just understanding that, and still though, I like to tell this story because things can be inside of us that we don't know about, just watching them and living life and natural attractions and all of those things. And in this particular story, at some point when I was younger, I got to play mandolin, a friend's mandolin for many years, and then we went our separate ways, and an old mandolin, like a 1940 mandolin. I'm a musician who loves to play many instruments, and for a long time, for about 15 years, I always thought, man, I want to find a mandolin that's kind of like this in this year and or somewhere within this 10-15 year period. And at some point, I was finally like, oh, I just got to get something. So I got another mandolin and started playing it and enjoyed it so very much. And one evening I was laying in bed, I had laid down after playing a bunch, and I happened to notice this anxiousness about wanting this mandolin. Just noticed it, and in that moment the energy was able to pass through, and I was like, if you want it to happen, I'm never thinking about it ever again.
Beautiful.
And that was the thought. And a week later I flew in back to Gainesville. I was living in California at the time for a gig, a wedding, played it, ended up at a restaurant with someone sitting next to me, and he happened to be someone who's a big fan of my music, and says, oh, come sit with me please, and I said, okay. I sat with him, and when's my next album? I said, I'm just obsessed with the mandolin right now. I got this new mandolin and I'm loving it. And he says, oh, you got to come to my house to see this mandolin. I've had it under my bed or in my closet for 30 years. And I said, all right, I'll come see it. Couldn't go for a little while, but made it over there. And he had this 1909 Gibson mandolin. It was just beautiful, beautiful. And he says, what do you think about it? I'm like, oh wow, it's so beautiful. I'm sitting there with it. He's like, well, I want you to have this thing. He's like, I know you're going to do something good with it. And I'd like to tell the story in light of those types of energy, and not, it's a trinket, you know, the mandolin is just, it's one of those things, and naturally I'm attracted to it, and it happens to be something that flows for me very well. But in light of just holding on to things, how they can keep us from having that light around us, and how beautiful it is, even if you think it's something that you really need, just letting it, you know, hey, if the spirit wants that, okay, so good. So it reminded me of that with the law of attraction, and how we can hold things we don't know, and we're holding on tight, and we let go, and you know, you never know.
No, they will. Like we talk about law of attraction, we're not the first people to talk about such a thing. The Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. But that's not the law of attraction. Because that didn't say ask and it will be given to you. It said seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. In other words, let go of yourself, and then it happens.
Yeah.
All right? Not, I want it for myself. Why is it not happening?
Keeping it from ourselves in that way. It's so beautiful.
All right, anything else? Fine? Dean? Yes.
Hi, my name's Jana,
Jenna?
and I came last week and you mentioned it again this week, and of course I read your books and you talk about renunciation, and that's not necessary. I wonder if you could talk a little about the flip side of that, because, I mean, I was in the corporate job and had the big house and was
Yeah.
making all the money, and it was incredible turmoil and sadness, and so I did just quit the job one day, and I did give up the house, and I did do all those things, and they felt like they were just happening.
And that's not renunciation. We're just
It
plain
was-
words. It
okay.
fell away.
Okay, yeah.
Things
That's
fall away.
fine. Yeah.
When they're no longer for you, they will fall away. If you cling to them after, you make a mess, all right? Renunciation is, I'm not done with it. I have desires or fears and all kinds of stuff going on inside, but I'm just going to leave it alone, stay away from it. Instead of letting go of the problem you have inside, you let go of the attempt to compensate outside, which sometimes you have to do. You understand that? If you've got a problem inside and it's really causing a lot of trouble outside, you may indeed have to let it go, right? Because it's manifesting externally. But that's not the same thing as letting go inside. So when I say it's not, I didn't say don't renunciate, I said it's not about renunciation, okay? Renunciation is, like I said, I really want it, but I'm not gonna do it, right? Being done with something is, I used to want it, now I see it's empty, right? Ramakrishna used to say, the world has lost its salt. Why? There's so much beauty and love going on inside of me, I can't believe I used to need something outside to get it. All right? That doesn't mean I don't deal with things outside, doesn't mean I'm married, doesn't mean you don't have money, doesn't mean anything, right? You know, in your particular case, it fell off. That's like shedding the skin off a snake. The snake did not renounce the skin. The skin was done, it fell off, all right? See the difference?
Yeah. I think so.
Good. Behind you, just quickly.
Hi Becky, I'm Will. Just going along with this conversation, if you see an attachment to a desire within you, and it's something that I've just seen certain things where I'm in the process of letting go, but it just doesn't seem to be happening all at once. I'm just trying to let that process go. If I see those desires and they seem still deeply embedded in me,
Yes.
is there anything to do with that? Like, that's not renunciation, and I don't want to answer them.
You're asking the deepest question anybody can ever ask. It's about doership and non-doership, and it's so deep I can't even, so on this time probably can't talk about it, right? Here's my answer. It's about intention, okay? It's not about how it particularly manifests or something like that. It's about intention. So if your intention is sincere, that what I want to do is let go of what's keeping me from God, of what's keeping me from self-realization. That is the meaning and purpose of my life. So any decision I'm making is my attempt to move in that direction, okay? There are things you're gonna make decisions, and then later you look back and say, ew, that was dumb, okay? Don't do that. That's like looking back at yourself as a 5-year-old when you're 30, right? You don't get to do that, right? If you're making the best decision you can at the time to grow and let go, you understand that? All right? Then you work with that. If you find that every time you try to let go of something, it keeps coming back in spades, right? And you're sitting there struggling and so on, my answer is notice who notices that you're struggling. The answer is never the horizontal movement. I mean, yes, the horizontal, it's the vertical, right? So if you're in there struggling, should I or shouldn't I? And look, right? How do you know that's happening in there? That's what I would ask you. Just take it. Simon says, take a step up. You heard me? But I'm not going to tell you what to do or not do. I never would do such a thing, right? Just keep noticing who's noticing. Like you're telling me, something gets confusing in there, right? And, well, et cetera. There's desires and fears and so on. How do you know? Just say, remember me saying, how do you know that's going on in there? Because the self is conscious. The self's not having that problem. It's watching a TV show that's having that problem. So if you just keep trying to step back, it'll do something, it'll unfold out here, and you'll fall down, you'll get up, and things will happen, and you know what I'm saying, you'll drop out of the corporate world, and then you'll get into stuff, and all of a sudden, some of the corporate world will come and say, oh my God, you're exactly what I was looking for, but no, I dropped out, that's what I want, somebody who dropped out. Right? And you just realize you have no control over, the only thing you have control over is yourself, right? Is are you willing? You understand what I mean when I say, you just described to me what it's like in there, how do you know? Somebody's watching, that's where you wanna go. It's not about doing or not doing, it's about being, right? Are you willing to notice that this is going on? But don't come back and say, but what should I do? I will not talk to anybody about that, right? It's not about doing or not doing. It's about, can you sit in the seat of consciousness and notice this mess? Do you understand that? That will take you home over time. You'll work your way through. If you keep asking who sees, if I'm trying to making decisions, how do you know? Should I do this? Who's asking? You just keep stepping back into the seat of awareness, and you'll see over time somehow it works out. Fair enough? Okay, I'm not giving somebody else say, don't do this, do that, do this 3 times, but not 4 times. No, I ain't doing it. Okay, I've made my way through. You can make your way through, right? You fall your way through. You do not stand up and walk your way. It's not that kind of a thing. Long and winding road that leads to your door. You understand?
Yes, thank you.
Very good. All right. So we have a tradition out here, which is very easy after the wonderful talk we had tonight about the masters. We pay respect to the saints and sages of all times and all traditions that have reached very great states. You know what that means now? In the Hindu tradition, Buddhist tradition, it's called arti. They wave lights to pay respect. Who would like to do the arti tonight? Who we got around here? Very good. What's your name? Audrey? That's your name? With the drunk on me. Brahma Shakti. Jai Sri Sri Kundalini Shakti. All hail to the Guru Shakti, Satguru Maharaj Ki. Om Shri Paramahansa Yogananda Maharaj Ki. Mahavatar Babaji. Mahavatar Babaji. Mahavatar Babaji Satguru Maharaj Ki. Hail to the truly great ones, the ancient rishis who passed down the great science of yoga, to the avatars of all times and all traditions. Hail to the merged. Hail to the completely, utterly, and uncontrollably merged into that great oneness. Jai Masters, Jai Satguru, Jai Bhagavan. Thank you for coming, for such a deep discussion. For people who is out of town, or even not, I highly recommend a course I did with Sounds True last year. It's 9 hours of this, if you can handle it. And the teachings are very deep, and it's online. So there's a brochure in the back. Come back and visit me. Keep yourself healthy. No shaking hands.